hello. This is test 41 from the future, an experimental podcast from the year 2222, which we are sending from our present to yours. My name is Dirk.
And my name is Simon.
And we're putting the past in podcast. So did you hear how I changed the intro?
I did. I liked it. You said test 41, yeah?
Yeah.
Instead of the 41st test.
Yes, I can't. I get stuck. It will be the 63rd and the 59th, and at one point I don't know anymore how to pronounce it.
Sure, yeah. Well, and I was aware at some point, we're in the hundreds, the thousands. Then it gets a bit long.
Exactly. And then I took the opportunity to write some of the other things differently as well. Because we were saying we are trying and we're testing and so on, but we're not really trying and testing anymore. It's working.
Right, we have a setup. It seems to be reliable.
Yeah. I mean, it's like still every episode is a test, but I thought we shorten the intro and then speak about the intro to make it even longer.
At least this one time.
This one time, exactly. What I was thinking as well is, I think one of the first episodes we were joking about commercials, to have commercials in there.
Right, advertising, yeah.
And I was thinking about that the other day again. Is that a thing we should consider, commercials?
Money is nice. I do like money. So that would be a reason for it. But what other thoughts were you having on it? Yeah,
I mean, I think I could make sense, but of course our target audience is...
Right, so that's what we mentioned in one of those early episodes was, I think I had the idea that a company from our time, from 2222, it wouldn't make sense for them to advertise, so we are sending this back 200 years, so it wouldn't make sense for them to advertise products that they're selling now, because people couldn't buy them 200 years ago. But I had the idea maybe they would do, what would it be called, ancestry advertising?
Oh.
So basically, they send the message back 200 years, get people to really like them somehow, and then those people tell their children, who tell their children, who tell their children, until now, in the present day, it works out well for that company, presumably. But I had a fresh idea on it, which was... That makes sense for a company that didn't exist 200 years ago. But there are companies who've been around a long time. So they could advertise to customers who would be... So customers of their past self, build up their business, with the advantage of knowing what happened the last 200... so depending on their records, potentially knowing... what happened the last 200 years and basically, not just what happened in the world, but specifically their business.
But that's interesting. So
it would be a unique, it would be something unique we could offer those companies that they can't get anywhere else.
Or even... No, that doesn't make any sense. I was thinking, I have no idea which companies already, which ones are old or not. I know Jark. Jark is pretty old. I don't know if they were around back then. But let's say Jark was around back then, they could advertise, but they would already know what their competition was going to do.
Yeah, and they could say, for example, so we're sending it to we're sending it to our podcast is being listened to in the year. No, wait, people can first listen to this in the year 2022. Say the company knows from their records that they came into existence in 2032. If they want, they could do 10 years of buzz marketing, build up the buzz, make people, I don't even know what, but, they could build it up gradually. And then when that company does launch, hey, there'll be people who already know about them, or their product, or their name, or whatever, but they can have that kind of advantage. And 10 years maybe is too small. Maybe the company came around in 2122, 100 years of gradual, you could do all kinds of things with that.
Or they may even have commercials laying around, advertisement from 200 years ago that we can play now, that is actually advertising products that you can buy 200 years ago.
Sure, I see what you mean. They wouldn't need to record anything fresh now. They just have it, and we can send it back, and then it's just like current advertising from the year 2022.
And they can basically look at 200 years of the best advertisement ever, pick the winner, and use that for their own product that already existed 200 years ago.
Sure.
And then because they know, okay,
and it could have been a thing like where there's some product that came out. Saying 2022 a lot is getting a bit weird. But anyway, not just so saying 20 a lot is getting a bit weird. Anyway, a product came out 200 years ago. 185 years ago, they did like a retro version of it. Slightly smaller, basically slightly smaller. That's the thing.
That's the thing.
A smaller version of it. And then when they did that, they had a new advertising campaign, which was super cool. And they have that now in our present. They have that 185-year advert, but they send it back 200 years, which, depending on the advert, could make sense or not. Keeping in mind we're audio only, no video.
Yes, exactly. I think we have a really good pitch story
with a bit more focus, maybe. Yeah. So meaning we should maybe focus it a little more.
We can also just say, just put €1 on a bank account, and then a euro in 2022 will be how many euros now? I don't know.
A whole bunch more, let's assume.
Or maybe inflation. Maybe it's worth nothing.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe we think about this some more.
But if you're a company that wants to advertise with us, get in touch.
Yes, exactly. Especially if you know you're still going to be around in 200 years.
Yes. Yes, right, because only people 200 years ago are listening to this. If we wanted, we could be a little bit proactive. We, in our present, in 22, could actually approach companies.
Yeah. Or the
but
companies...
you wouldn't hear that on the podcast.
Oh, but the companies in the past email their ads to michaelasagna5@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And then if we play them, just put €1 on a bank account of our ancestors.
That's how they'll... because they need to pay us somehow. I see what you mean now. Yeah.
They pay our grandparents.
Yeah.
And we inherit this money at some point.
Yeah.
I think we're onto something.
I think so too.
We mentioned the email address. Maybe that's a good segue into mentioning the email address again.
Sure. Yeah, you just mentioned it, but I'll say it again. michaelasagna5@gmail.com. And as usual, as well as being a company that wants to give us lots of money, also put in the title episode 41, that we can confirm that this episode did get back in time successfully.
Okay. Of the topic today, I thought instead of being spontaneous, we discuss it up front.
Okay.
And what did we decide on for today?
I'm checking the notes because it's gone out of my memory.
The topic we were going to talk about today, the Orejones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Orejones, yeah.
Yeah, maybe we mention a little bit what they are, and then...
Yeah, please do.
I think originally they're pronounced differently, but everybody just says Orejones.
Yeah.
They actually go in your ear. Maybe or and ear, maybe it comes from there.
Yeah, a bit of German in there.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think it's actually Spanish.
I could actually read out how it's spelled.
Yeah.
Orejones. Orejones.
Yeah, Orejones. Like. Yeah. Everybody calls them Orejones, but they know they're from somewhere. Actually, I think they were made in Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, in Goa.
At the Silicon Valley of Mexico.
Yeah. I think it's called Guadalajara. I don't know. So they are basically where your ear is, but they're not in your ear, but they're like right behind your ear into your skull.
Okay, yeah. Embedded in your skull, yeah.
At least that's as far as I know. They're like I can't feel them, but I know they're there.
Sure.
So
it's a one-time thing. You get them installed. You don't think about. It's not like you replace them every other year.
Yeah, and they're basically they have a microphone and a speaker. So they pick up every sound that comes in and passes it straight into your bone, as far as I understand. And basically they pick up sound, transmit it, they connect it to your lens, they connect to your PA. So that's what we spoke about in one of our previous episodes. You wander the mall in Beijing, your PA starts to chat to you. That's where it chats to. So we got a few user questions about this. How do you even hear that? Do you have something in your ear? Well, it's not actually in your ear, it's right behind.
Right, and kind of an in-between step between... So if you didn't have this, you would hear things with your ear directly. With this, it's in the middle. One of the advantages, you can turn the volume up or down on the world. and it's the same stuff you would have heard, just that you can make it louder or quieter, in addition to, of course, adding more information.
I think what could be interesting about this is in Goa they have this team that researches old tech, and I think I think the team produces this. I think that's also why it has a Spanish name, because it comes from there. And this team basically goes back into the archives, searches for really old technology that is not in use anymore, tries to remake it. Basically, it's basically kind of like a history project. Try to remake old tech, try to get it to work.
Like remake it exactly as it was, or remake it but like new and improved?
I think initially they always try to make it exactly as it was, and then try to see, what can we do with modern, with all modern technology? How can we make it better? Yep. And I think, to be honest, I think it's the only actual example that I know that then got into, common mass market.
Right. Not just a few. I've forgotten the word. Not people who are specifically interested in technology, and specifically old technology, but just something that became something everyone used.
Yeah, exactly.
Enthusiasts. That's the word I was looking for.
I think the whole team is full of enthusiasts, and
Sure.
It sounds actually quite interesting, because with all the stuff that we have today, it should be relatively easy to reproduce something like that. But it has. I think back in the days they used diamonds in technology.
Okay.
And that's not so easy to get your hand on a diamond nowadays.
No, right. You have to. I mean, they're something that you can only find. There's no way to make them. So. Yeah. And they become more and more there.
So that's where they came from. So they basically researched old tech, then improved it, and I think initially they did actually go in your ear, and then they expanded on it where they kind of inserts into your bone.
Yeah, right. Because the problem with the old way of having audio that you heard using your eardrum was if the sound was too loud, it could damage your eardrum and then damage your hearing. Either you wouldn't hear things at all, so the extreme would be deaf, you wouldn't hear anything, or reduced, or you would have tinnitus or some other issue.
I even heard with the old way, it would produce more earwax. That's what I heard. And with this way, with it constantly drilling your skull, basically.
Like vibrating it, yeah?
Exactly. You keep your ear clean from earwax.
Shakes it out of your head. That's pretty nice.
And it can get you shaken a lot.
Yeah.
Did you?
The shakes.
Yeah, the shakes. I was.
It's. I mean, now we're used to it. It's not so. It still looks a bit unsettling sometimes. You see someone sitting down on a park bench or on the bus or whatever, and so they're leaning back. They've got a very happy look on their face, and they're kind of. So they're vibrating in their seat. I'm going to do it. Yeah. I'm sitting in a chair now, so you're going to hear it on the microphone. I don't know what come across there, but that, but for many hours at a time.
It was a very good impersonation of the Shakes, I have to say.
And, right, so it always looks unsettling, but knowing what it is makes it at least less unsettling. It's not that the person's in danger, in trouble, having a fit of some kind. It's that they've tuned the
volume of the Orejones, you mean?
Yeah, of the Orejones, that's it. They've adjusted it so that it's basically... volume is not quite the right word, because it's not like it's loud, but it's shaking their whole skeleton.
Like the intensity.
The intensity, that's it.
Okay.
They've turned it up or not even... So it is turned up, that's a fact, but it's also the frequency of it. It makes the whole skeleton shake in a really pleasurable way.
Yeah, apparently, it doesn't look like it, but...
No, it looks a bit... Yeah, it looks unsettling and apparently feels really nice.
Yeah, I've tried it once, and I personally, it was extremely different from what you expect. It's like because
so it's not like just having. It's not like just being in a concert with super loud music that like shakes you. It's not. It's different from that.
Yeah, and it's also not like when you're in a pod, for example, you can have this really smooth vibration or something like that. It's not like that at all. And I think if you get used to it, super nice. but I personally didn't like it. But I know a lot of people do.
I mean, they must like it. So I understand. Say it feels really pleasurable. That makes sense. I would do that at home. It must be so pleasurable that people are using it that way on public transport, in a park.
You know, they have events. They have the Rotterdam Shakes.
Tell me more.
It's basically it's an event where you don't actually hear the music yourself or the artists or so. So it's basically you connect them to a central source, and everybody has that same source, and it's just seating everywhere. You know, relaxed chairs everywhere,
sofas, armchairs.
Exactly, it's down by the old harbor. And then it's just everywhere you look, there's just sofas, and people are shaking. You know, and they're all shaking in the same rhythm, same intensity, same sound.
By one person by themselves, you wouldn't notice, but I would presume hundreds, maybe thousands of people all in unison.
And you walk through there, and you feel like you're on an alien world because everybody's just shaking and smiling,
like it's a hive mind or something.
Yeah, exactly. And it feels very surreal, but it's a popular thing.
I reckon I'll try it soon. I've got this. We mentioned it previously. I have this 12-month subscription of really fancy stuff for the
cyborg chip.
For the cyborg chip, that's it. And so so my wings are coming along, but very slow. I could do something smaller scale because with the Orejones, it's a mechanical device. You know, like. Made of metal and so on, installed in your skull. I shall find out if I can basically grow my own version in my skull.
Oh, you think that's in there?
Could be. It's really an expensive plan. So
if they can do a cat bus, they can do that.
I reckon so.
Okay. I know it's super new, the thing you have, and
so I assume it will be faster than the wings because wings are really large. And this thing will be really tiny, so it should be faster.
Okay, yeah. It's for me, it's like they're there, and then it's also when we speak about things like the lenses, you know, you occasionally take them off, so you're kind of conscious about it that they're there.
That's true.
It happens rarely. I really rarely take them off, but I know that they're there.
Yeah,
but with the Orejones.
Right, even with the mechanical one, it's permanently installed in your body.
It's like with your your eyelids or whatever. It's like they're just there. You know, it's like you don't realize anymore. It's not naturally part of your body.
I reckon. So if it's possible for me to grow my own Orejones, I reckon I'll get it that I have a little mechanical switch on the outside of my head, just behind my ear. Left ear will be fine. Like a little mechanical switch. I can just switch on and off. You know, and off. Just use my regular ears. On. I can, have this. But
using your regular ears, like, can humans still do that? Everybody has Orejones.
I mean, I guess it will be. I'll find out how frustrating it is not to have volume control because it is really convenient being able to adjust that. You know, either louder or quieter as you need.
And you can't understand other languages anymore.
Yeah, sometimes I don't leave the house for days at a time. It's fine.
I can't imagine going to Georgia and then people just talk to me and I have no idea what they're saying. Or maybe it's actually.
Well, I mean, you can imagine it, yeah. Like you won't know what they're saying, you won't know the words necessarily, but you can probably tell from their face and their gestures.
True. And to be honest, not everybody has a whole lot of interesting things.
Right. You can imagine you're in a place if you really don't know what people are saying, you can imagine that they're having really interesting conversations and not saying anything, upsetting or offensive or sad or whatever.
Yeah, it's true. And then you can, when you actually hear what they're saying, then they're just having discussions about Orejones.
Yeah.
Boring stuff. Like.
Yeah, and then it's the same. Like wherever you go, you think going to different countries all over the place, you'll hear that they would be speaking about different subjects or whatever. No, it turns out they're all talking basically about the same kinds of things.
Oh, yeah. Newest show, new music, newest technology. Okay. Okay, that's it about the Orejones. It's not the most amazing, super exciting thing, but like one more puzzle piece for you to piece the future together. We had a few emails. I can read the question. It's from Arantzazu Aspiros. She writes, guys, in one of your first episodes, you don't know what cars are. A few episodes later, you mention limousines, and a few episodes later, you have a whole episode about the flying cars. What's up with that? Cheers from Guadalajara.
That's the place. That's Goa.
That's Goa.
Yeah, it's pretty. That's, if we had planned, we would have known that, and that's why we would. But we did not do that, so that's a really nice coincidence.
Right. Orejones are from Goa, which is Guadalajara. Guadalajara. And she's from there.
But from 200 years ago, I don't know how. Now it's a really important place. A lot of things are developed there. I don't know 200 years ago what was going on there. Do you?
I know. I have no idea.
But from there 200 years ago.
Cool. Then maybe one of her descendants is going to make Orejones.
Could be.
Maybe
she worked on the original, or she or someone she knows, or from a family or whatever.
Or maybe she heard about it in our podcast episode.
Oh wow!
Right now is going to tell people about it, and they're going to make it, which is okay.
That's cool.
I'm not sure how. That's gonna work.
Let us know. Sorry, what was her name again?
Arantzazu.
Yep, Arantzazu. If that's the case, wait a minute, you won't know that right now. Let us know if that's the case.
Exactly, but also let us know if Guadalajara. Do you guys already call it Goa or?
Right, and is it have all kinds of amazing technologies developed there, in your time, or is that something from the future, your future, maybe?
Or maybe it's farmland or not developed yet, or so.
Yeah. Maybe lots of mini golf.
Then maybe Arantzazu invest in some tech stocks from the companies in.
Indeed,
Goa.
keep an eye out, an ear out for this kind of thing.
Yeah, okay.
Invest in it early.
Yeah, Orejones are now made by everybody, so I don't know anymore who were the original team behind it. But I'm also saying, did they already call it Goa back then?
Right.
To be honest, I don't know if the people in Goa call it Goa as well. Maybe that's just something we say because Guadalajara is not so
it's
easy.
longer, yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's really interesting. Huh. Okay. Well, thanks a lot for sending us an email, Arantzazu. And I would say that's it for this week.
I reckon so.
So thanks everybody for listening, and see you in 200 years.
Goodbye.